Hi there, my name is Mr. Beep-Bop, as we can see right here, and I'm just drawing on half my name, it's fine. And today we're going to be continuing with our basic construct videos. Now, we've done addition, we've done subtraction, and now it's time for moving on to the second half of the four operations really. And we're moving on to why do we need to multiply? What is the purpose of multiplication? Why do we need it in our lives? Just why? And first of all, let's look at what multiplication is. And I think the easiest way to do this is by looking at how it could be similar to both addition or maybe subtraction. So we've already covered addition and subtraction, so if you haven't already watched those videos, I would encourage you to go back and watch those before we delve right in. So let's look at what addition is again. We have addition here, and the whole idea of addition is you have a number, you add another number to it, and get another number. And the whole idea is it increases the number. And the way it works is essentially you count up on a number line. So let's say you start with 3. It essentially has the effect of counting up on a number line anyway, because you may not always count up the number line. And you see the effect here, we're adding 9 to 3, we get 12. That's basically just the result. Now let's use exactly the same numbers, and we're going to go 12 minus 9 equals 3. And we should be able to represent this on the same number line as well. So let's have 3 here, and let's have 12 here. And we'll just draw the line in between. Now the way this works is actually we're just going backwards this time. And instead of adding 9, we're subtracting 9. Okay. Now let's look at some kind of multiplication. We'll go with quite a simple one. We'll go with 3 times 4. Now 3 times 4 also equals 12. So we have 12. But can we represent this on a number line? This is quite an interesting idea. So what's actually going on? So we end up with 12. And we're adding. We've got it. Well, we have to be adding surely, because we're going up, aren't we? So this would be 3 lots of 4. So if we need 3 lots of 4, so we'll add 4 3 times. We'll see what happens then. Okay, we've added 4 3 times, and we get to 12, which means that we're actually starting at 0, which means that actually 4 plus 4 plus 4 equals 12 itself. And this is how the multiplication works, because multiplication is essentially just continuous adding, and it works for even the highest of numbers. So 75 times 12 is just 12, add 12, add 12, add 12, and you add 12 75 times. And that's just basically how it works. And you're always going to end up with essentially the same answer. You're going to end up with, I think, if my maths is correct, we're going to end up with something like 900 here. So we're going to end up with 900. It will take a long time, however, which is why we don't just add. This is why we need this multiplication. But how does this multiplication here actually work? How does that even benefit us? Because really, if all we're doing is adding, then why is this important? So multiplication is its own separate thing because it uses different methods, and I quickly touched on the fact that you could use for subtraction in our last video. We went over that there could have been a couple of different ways for you to subtract. One of the most common ones being column subtraction, and I didn't mention it then, but we also have another one that's quite similar to it, column addition. And if we're doing 75 up to 12, it's going to end up with 12, add 12, add 12, and so on. What is that? And so on and so on until eventually you get to the answer of 900. Now we will go over column methods, things like that, in a later video, but for now we'll just use this basic idea, and we'll hope that most of you watching will have had a basic understanding of this, or at least have some idea of what we're talking about. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to arrange it like this. Okay. And the way this works is then you're going to be multiplying 75 by 2 and then 75 by this here and its value. So this is actually worth 10 because it's in the tens column. So we've got tens and units here. Tens and ones, tens and units, whichever one you would prefer. I personally know them as units. So we multiply it by 2, then we multiply it by 10. So if we multiply by 2, we're going to get 150. And obviously you do working out in the actual one, but I just don't. It's just a quick demonstration, so we won't do that. And then 10 times 75 is basically just 75 with a 0. Okay, here we are. And then we just add those together. Going to end up with 900. Okay. Now you see just how efficient this is in comparison to doing something like this where it's going to go on for a long time. If you can just do this, then it's just a lot easier. Now unfortunately there isn't a lot of history behind this kind of video because obviously in the last couple we used things like Roman numerals and things like that, but to be honest, I'm not that familiar with Roman numerals being used for the idea of multiplication, so I'm not confident in going over that. So instead, what I'm going to say is, this is the basic idea, and I'm just going to go over a couple examples of where this might be useful, and we are going to go back to my favourite example of the apples. Okay. So let's go back to the idea of an apple. So you have an apple, like this. Now we've already said before how fantastic my drawing skills are. Here, this is obviously clearly an apple. You can tell it's an apple. Alright, absolutely fantastic. And let's say we're going to start off, and we're going to use 3 times 4 again, I think. So we're going to start off with these 4 apples. Okay, we're starting off with these 4 apples. Now what I'm going to say is that these 4 apples here, I'm just going to say that, well, we'll write in green for now. Someone who owns an orchard, let's say you own an orchard, and you pick 4 apples a day. So you have 4 apples per day. And then you might get a question in a test or something like that, that'll say, how many apples will you have in total after 3 days? Now you have a couple of ways of going about this. So we're first going to use the idea of addition. So you could say, right, I have 4 apples on the first day, I have 4 apples on the second day, 4 apples on the third day, and that's my last day, so we're just going to write those together. And that's going to equal 12. Quite simple. And we're going to do exactly the same thing, except this time we're going to multiply. So we're going to say, right, we have 3 lots of 4, and I know, because of my times tables, that's 12. Okay. Now we're doing exactly the same thing here. And this may not seem very difficult. It may seem that this is going to take you basically exactly the same amount of time. And you already have to have a basic understanding of your times tables for this to be perhaps more efficient. So instead, what we're going to be looking at is how this would be useful based on our other example before. So we're going to just get rid of these. And I'm also going to change this number here. So now I'm going to say that we're going to get 12 12 apples, oh dear, 12 apples per day. 12 apples per day. Let's just imagine that these are clearly 12. So we'll just label that as these are obviously 12. And we'll just like that for short, for obviously. There we go. So we clearly have 12 apples here, and we're going to get 12 apples per day, and this probably wouldn't come up in like a very simple kind of test. It's probably going to be coming up like in more advanced stuff. But let's say, just for argument's sake, that you wanted a question asks you, okay, I have 12 apples. I get 12 apples per day. How many apples will I have after 75 days in total? So you could say 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12, and you're going to be there for a long time, and you are eventually going to end up with 900. But that wouldn't be very efficient, and in maths we're always looking for ways, essentially, just to get the right answer quicker. So we just get to the right answer, it's still just as accurate, just as precise, we're going to get to the same answer, we're just going to get there a lot quicker if we say, right, we want 75, oh dear, we'll just go, let's get rid of that, 1 moment please, there we go. Okay, so we're going to have 75 lots of 12. Now, again, for this I would use the column method, but we already know that from the last time that we used it, that we're going to end up with 900. And I would argue that obviously, as we discussed last time, this is a lot quicker than adding 12 a bunch of times. So you can see how this may have worked quite a long time ago in history as well. And obviously this does relate then to the modern day with more modern examples. Say a loaf of bread costs so much. Let's say it costs £1 or $1 or whatever the currency is, wherever you're from, wherever you are, wherever you're watching this video. Let's say it costs £1, right? Because I'm in England, we have pounds. It costs £1, and you want to know, right? In fact, for my example to work, it's going to cost £3. It's going to cost £3, and you want to know how much it's going to cost you to get 5 loaves of bread. And you do 3 times 5, or you could do 5 add 5 add 5. But either way, it does relate to the real life scenario, because once the numbers get bigger, it's just a lot easier. So hopefully I've managed to cover everything for this question of why do we need to multiply. I hope I've managed to cover everything for you. It's essentially just a bunch of adding, but sometimes multiplying is just a lot easier and a lot quicker than just adding a bunch of times, because that can take a while. So it's basically just to get the same answer quicker, to work more efficiently, as is our goal in maths. So if I haven't answered any questions that you might have, leave a comment. I'll be sure to have a look at those. I'll respond to any queries that you might have, and if necessary I might even make another video just clarifying or going over the concepts that we've explored in this video in greater detail. So I'd like to thank you all very much for watching this video. I've been Mr. Beep-Bop, signing off. Bye bye.